Hello, my name is Rick Adams, and I am the CEO at Practical CSM and the Success Hub. And my company, Practical CSM, has been engaged by 111 to create a whole series or a program of training courses aimed at helping tech startups understand the value from customer success management and to understand how to go about creating, managing, implementing, and generating value from running a customer success team. So to do this, what we've done is we've thought very carefully about the topic and divided it into 13 one-hour workshops. And we're not expecting anybody to attend necessarily all 13 of them. Rather, we've looked at the different people who would be impacted and thought about the types of training and the types of information that those different people needed and created sets or categories of those trainings for those particular people. So the first type of person that we wanted to create training for was the senior decision maker, perhaps the business owner or somebody who advises the business, who is in a senior decision making position within the company. And for them, we've created 2 workshops on the topic of customer success strategic decision making. So the first course, remember those are all 1-hour courses. The first course is called Do We Need Customer Success Management? And this, of course, is looking at the argument for customer success management and the pros and cons and the types of values that one might expect to generate, and also the types of costs that are involved as well, so that you can make a rational decision, shall we have customer success management or not? The second course for the strategic decision making section is developing your customer success management vision. So you at some stage as the senior decision makers are going to hand over that vision to the customer success team, and particularly, of course, whoever you appoint as the leader of that team. But you've got to give them a brief. You've got to give them something to bite on, something to say, this is what we want. And that is that vision that you will have for customer success. So we'll look at how you develop a strong customer success management vision. And your investment, therefore, as a senior decision maker would be 2 hours. Do we need customer success management in hour 1, and developing your customer success management vision in hour 2. So that's our first section. Now, the second section within our 13 courses is called Customer Success Strategy, Development and Implementation. And this, of course, is for the leader of the customer success team, whoever gets appointed to actually create that success team, to manage it, to run it, to measure it, and to generate value from it. So with that one, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those 13 modules for yourself. The first of those is called Customer Research and Customer Journey Mapping. And what this is about is working out where the needs lie. What is it about your customers that is going to make it useful to provide them with a customer success manager to give them guidance and advice and help and assistance? Where are their problems and challenges right now? What aren't you doing as an organization currently that is frustrating the customer because you're dropping the ball, you're not providing them with the support that they need? What are you doing but maybe not very well that you could do better if you had customer success in? And also with the customer journey mapping side of things, what this does is it provides a formal way of documenting all of this into your customer journey map, which effectively is the series of engagements that the customer has over the entire course of their relationship with you, and their feelings and emotions, which may vary between good and bad as they go on that journey with you. So we'll look at how you create and document the customer journey through customer journey mapping. So that's the first one. The second course for the customer success leader is called Customer Success Requirements Analysis. And what this does is it takes the output from that first course where we did the customer journey mapping and thought about the needs of the customer in our customer research, plus the vision that the customer success leader is handed from the senior decision makers within the company to say, this is what we want you to create for us, and then joining those together to make sense out of some kind of customer success team implementation strategy, and that's our requirements analysis. So what are the needs both of the customer and the company that's employing me, and how do they combine to be something that I can actually then, as the leader, say, right, I now know what it is we need to do. Having determined what we need to do, we then need to know how are we going to tackle that issue. And that's the next part, which is developing, implementing, and measuring your customer success strategy. So that's the response to the analysis. So remember, step 1, research and journey mapping. Step 2, requirements analysis. Step 3, putting it into then your customer success strategy, your response to this is what the customers need, this is what I've been asked to achieve as a vision from the company, this is my strategy that will attain that vision and help the customers in the ways that we now see and know and understand that they need the help from. So we'll go through that process, development, implementation, and measuring that customer success strategy. And then the final one in the set of 4 for yourself as a senior CS leader is selecting, managing, and growing your CS team. So, of course, this is all about the people, and customer success is very much all about the people. Of course, you can also automate much of customer success, and that's a very powerful way forwards. But for a lot of what you do, you are going to need to hire customer success managers, and as you grow the team, maybe specialists of various kinds as well. And so, for example, a licensing specialist, or an operations specialist, or a product specialist. And so as you grow your team, so your needs are going to mature and change. How do you decide who you need to hire, which of the knowledge, skill, and expertise areas you need to hire for, what exactly it is you're looking for, who should come first, in what order should you employ the rest, at what cadence level, and so on and so forth. So we'll take a look at all of that in the selecting, managing, and growing your CS team, so that you've got some sort of idea as to how you're going to go about making those hiring decisions and management decisions. Okay, so that's the first 6 out of our 13. And now the majority of the courses, though, the other 7, are all aimed at customer success management professionals themselves, individual contributors in the team actually doing the work of customer success management. Now, of those 7, we've divided them into 5 at the standard level of customer success management best practices, and then 2 that we've called advanced customer success management best practices. So again, if we look at the 5 customer success management best practices, we start with fundamentals of customer success management. So this is the basic stuff. What is customer success management 101? How do we go about doing it? What are the core steps in a customer engagement, and what's the expectation of our customer success manager, what they should be doing at each of the major stages within the customer success engagement. Then we'll deep dive after that first course into each of the major parts of an engagement, and we've divided it into 4. So the first part 1, is the customer success onboarding process. So this is when you've got a new customer and you want to get them started with your product or your service. What do? And we take the CSM through all of the best practices of researching the customer, engaging with the customer, agreeing their success plan, working with them to help them understand what they've bought and how to use it, who's going to be impacted, what types of training is going to be required, and so on. Part 2 then is called creating and implementing watertight adoption plans. So adoption then is the process after that initial onboarding of becoming masters of our product, and we want our customer to be that master, that expert in using our product or our service to generate the types of values that they need. So how do we do that? Well, we need to understand who's going to be impacted, in what ways are they impacted, how will they be using our product, or will they actually be using output that others are using our product to create, and they've got a knock-on effect perhaps. Are we moving the bottleneck from one place to another, and what are we going to do about that? Everybody who's been impacted, in what ways have they been impacted? Which processes have been changed? In what ways have they been changed? How are we going to update and document those processes? practices, who needs training, reskilling, who needs to be maybe even employed now, who no longer needs to be employed. All of the impact within the business needs to be thought out here, and all of the ways in which we're going to make sure that all of those impacts are safely, securely, and carefully, but efficiently and effectively and proactively handled, so that by the end of that adoption process, the customer organization is doing what it needs to do productively, effectively, efficiently, and happily. And we can now start to measure the types of success they're getting from using the product. Part 3, working with customers to maximize customer ROI. So now they're using our product. We want to be working with them on an ongoing basis, regularly getting in touch with them, doing the measurement, doing the calculations, presenting the value returned, showing them how they are achieving their milestones en route to ultimate customer success over the course of months and maybe even multiple years to achieve their targets, etc. So this all needs thought and consideration and best practice in terms of KPIs, selecting the right ones, measuring them, analyzing the information, putting them into a report that's meaningful to the customer, and then meeting the customer on a regular basis and influencing them to understand the value that is being created. So that's working with customers to maximize customer ROI. And also within that, we'd be saying, well, okay, how do we then also maybe look at increasing value as well, both for them, themselves, the customer, and for ourselves. And part 4, which is the final one in our series, Customer Success Management Best Practices, is called Measuring the Value of Customer Success Management. So rather than now looking at measuring the return on investment for the customer, what about the return on investment for our company? So how do we measure ourselves? How can we, as a customer success team, turn to our business leaders and say, you're investing in us, and this is the return that we are creating for you. This is the value that we deliver. Sales brings new customers in. Marketing finds the people for sales to talk to. Product creates the product. What's customer success doing? It's keeping our customers. It's growing the value from each individual customer and extending the lifetime of the customer. And this is the proof that we've got, because these are exactly the ways in which we measure. We measure our churn and our renewal rates. We measure the net revenue return from a customer. We measure the total lifetime of a customer, and then the average revenues gained from that customer and the increases in that lifetime that we are creating due to having customer success in place. So this is how we measure the value of customer success management, and of course the sentiment from the customer as well, with things like a net promoter score, for example, NPS, and CSAT statistics and so on. So there we go. So those are the customer success management best practices that we go through. We take an hour each workshop for that, which leaves us 2 final workshops in our range of 13, which are the advanced customer success management best practices. So those initial ones, the 5 that we talked about, fundamentals, and then parts 1 to 4 of customer engagement, maybe as a fairly senior CSM, you feel you already know that, or maybe you'd want to come on those and one or more of them and get the benefit of the training. But once you've got through those, you could say, well, you've got a very good, strong, profound understanding of what it is a customer success manager is and does. But what else could we do? Well, these 2 advanced best practices have a couple of different focuses. So the first one is called Understanding Business Capabilities, Business Outcomes, and Business Success. And this is very much a context hour. This is because ultimately what we want to be and do as a customer success manager is we want to be a business consultant providing consultative advice and recommendations to our customer. That's where we want to be. Well, you can't do that unless you understand how businesses work. So we've got to walk a mile in the shoes of our customer. And that's what understanding business capabilities, business outcomes, and business success is all about. It's about understanding how we can divide a business into a series of capabilities, which in turn can be divided into people, process, and tools. And we look at how each of those capabilities then combines to generate value, and how all the value is then combined to be the overall capability of that organization. We look at the outcomes from that value that's being generated, and how business success is engendered through the right senior level decision making and strategizing around what outcomes we need to achieve, and therefore what capabilities we need as a business, and how we then, as the supplier of our product or service, are going to come in and intervene with our tools, our services, and our products to help to improve their existing business capabilities, and maybe even generate new business capabilities for them, and how that actually helps them as a business. So that's the context. The other course in this advanced series is called Engaging with, Managing and Influencing Senior Business Decision Makers. The purpose of this is, if we again want to be consulting with the business, providing business best practice advice and recommendations, well, who do we make those recommendations to? Well, we've got to have someone listening to us, and they've got to be senior enough to have decision-making capability. So how do we get in front of those people, and how do we talk to them? How do we listen to them? How do we engage with them? How do we get them to take us seriously? Time and again, I find that customer success managers don't have the confidence or the competence to really even be in a meeting with a senior decision maker and not make a fool of themselves. And that, of course, is really critical. So we're representing our company. Everything we say and do is being noted down, and there is going to be a much higher level of critical thinking going on in a senior decision-making meeting. They're going to expect us to know our stuff, to be able to talk in their language around business decision making, around the things that are their challenges, their outcome requirements, the types of things that are keeping them awake at night. And we're going to talk rationally about them in ways that actually help them. We want, ultimately, if you like, to be the type of customer success manager that asks the sorts of questions that get our customer thinking, that get that senior business decision maker saying to themselves, oh, you know what? I'm really glad you asked me that. That's a really good question. I don't think we know the answer to that. And I don't think we've really thought about that before. So thank you for bringing that particular, aspect of this challenge, to our consideration. That's the type of relationship we want to build. So how do we do that? How do we engage with, manage, and influence senior business decision makers? What are the skills we need? What knowledge do we need to have? What do we need to be confident and competent at? So we'll go through that in that hour. So there we go. A whole series of 13 one-hour workshops for the strategic decision makers within an organization, which is around, do we want customer success? And if so, what's our vision? For the customer success leader, around researching, around analyzing, and around implementing and measuring the strategy, and then growing your team. And then for the CSMs themselves, around the fundamentals of customer success management, and then around those 4 parts to the engagement: onboarding, adoption, maximizing customer ROI, and measuring the value. And then finally, 2 advanced workshops for CSMs: understanding business capabilities, business outcomes, and business success, and engaging with, managing, and influencing senior business decision makers. Come on these courses. I don't think you'll be disappointed, even if you're not in customer success. If you have anything of a customer-facing role, I think that you will benefit greatly from these discussions, and how you can become more consultative in your approach, more customer-centric in your approach, how you can come at this from a different perspective than you and your product, and instead, through walking a mile in the shoes of the customer, come at this from the perspective of what is the customer's challenge, what are their outcome requirements, what are their needs, and how can I, as their servant and guide, how can I help them to attain maximum value? Thank you very much.